What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Still out here in Miami. Should be heading back to Michigan very shortly within the next few days. It's funny because my daughter was like, yo, Dad, we could just move out here and I could pivot from, going to regular school. And I'm like, nah, we're not going to start doing that. We're not going to make that modification. We're going to stay with what we've been doing the entire time, and we're going to stick with the plan. You're going to go ahead and finish high school, and then we're going to pivot and make the adjustment then. So everything that I do going forward, and it has been for an extended period of time, has been based off of this plan, this long-term 10-year, it's not so much of a 10-year plan, more like a 3 to 4 year plan now, 10 to 15-year plan on how it is that we're going to pivot. And every single decision that I make feeds into what the long-term execution of those plans are. Everything is going ahead of schedule. It's absolutely phenomenal. We cooking up. We doing great things. Business is going absolutely well, and we got a great start to the new year. So welcome to the new year. We was over here sitting by the pool, chilling. There's still people out here. It's New Year's Day, so by the time you see this, it'll be a day later. But welcome to the new year. It's been absolutely awesome for me, but for every other guy, or for a lot of guys that we see publicly, it hasn't been so great. Last year, it wasn't that awesome. For a lot of people, it was a lot of people that I personally know as content creators and visible public figures that passed away. I don't want to deep dive into that anymore because it's a new year and I want to move into a positive direction. The last few years for a lot of people, I think, was pretty trying, and none of that is any more visible than what it is that we've seen happen with a lot of the men from yesteryear, right? But before we get into that, make sure you tap into the Patreon. The link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Actually today, but yesterday I dropped the exclusive. Second time, former mayor, Detroit Mayor Kilpatrick appeared on the platform, but we got candid, right? We talked about whether or not he should have took the money. You're going to have to see what I'm talking about, tap in and see what I'm talking about. We talked about politics as far as, the financial aspects of it, whether or not it's evil, all of that type of stuff. We spoke about the Flint water crisis. We talked about a lot of really deep dive things that only a person like him that's been intimately connected with what's going on in the system can give you insight and information into. So make sure you tap into that. Next couple days, I also got a Patreon exclusive breaking down things from a financial perspective of how it is that you need to move from business, looking at everything from a business lens in order to be successful. And then we got another Charleston White. We got the Pearl, Just Pearl, Patreon exclusive that deep dives in a thing a lot of people not even familiar with about her. That's dropping on the Patreon, so we got a lot of game, a lot of insight. And if you're not a part of the Bag Chasers, New Year's Eve was absolutely awesome. It was great. It was phenomenal. We had a great time. It was sold out. And it was a lot of people that couldn't get in because they dragged their feet. So I'm inviting you guys to join the Bag Chasers. That link is in the Patreon. To the Patreon is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat, and we're going to go from there. But there was a lot of guys that didn't do so well last year. And it was rough. It was rough. Recently, we became familiar with what was going on with Andrew Tate. The news outlets are still reporting that it's trafficking. Other people are saying that he's saying it was money laundering. I don't really know what to believe. But does it really matter? Simply because it seems like they're after him. And they're after him based off of the idea that he stands for something that's completely against what most people stand for as far as masculinity. We know that society in itself has been incredibly feminized. And, for somebody to stand up and say something that's a little bit different than what the norm is and going against the grain, which I think is the right thing to do, it's an attack on it. It's an attack on him. It's an attack on his masculinity. And I don't like what's happening. I don't like how things played out. I don't like how it's easy for the public at large to be easily manipulated and to believe in one thing and not actually looking at it from a skeptical lens and trying to take in all of the information instead of just believing whatever social media or the media portrays. You've seen Takeoff. He passed away last year. Actually the most quiet of the group was the one that was deleted. And usually you see with entertainers a lot of times, they put themselves in tragic situations. But it's weird because it's just some things that obviously you can't even avoid despite your circumstances or despite the fact that you're the quiet one and you chilling, you're not even participating. You just so happen to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. You've seen Tory Lanez, the whole Meg the Stallion thing. I'm not really following it going forward outside of here, but the fact of the matter is, I think that there's an assault on men. I think that there's an assault on masculinity. And as a result, you see a lot of guys divesting from relationships. They're divesting from participating in the success of others because they become selfish. Now, selfish is not a bad thing because I believe that you need to be selfish in order to be selfless. You can't pour out of an empty cup. You can't help anybody until you help yourself. And so it's important for you to be able to tap into that aspect of yourself and build yourself up before you start thinking about other people. But what you see on the flip side of that is that a lot of guys are saying, yo, not only am I going to get up, but now I'm not going to even consider wasting my time with people that don't add value to my life. They saying that I don't see the point in aligning myself with women outside of just having sex with them. And why should I get married? What is the benefit of it? You know, and you can't bully men anymore into believing or doing a thing that you think makes the most sense for them. They're starting to divest and they saying, you know what, I got my own mind. I got my own perspective. I'm starting to see things a little bit differently. I'm not about to put myself in a position to have to get divorced and lose half my stuff, even though I worked my whole life to build it. I'm no longer participating in this Me Too culture. I'm no longer subscribing to the idea of happy wife, happy life. And so now, and what you're going to start seeing going forward is that there's going to be a lot of other people that suffer as a result of men then divesting themselves from this culture that's not best for them. And I'm not sure if it's just Western culture because you're seeing it abroad. You're seeing it in every single country because every country is adopting this Western philosophy and mindset of, you know, you can do whatever you want to do whenever you want to do it without any consequences. But the men that are identifying this stuff and they smartening up, they saying that, you know what, we need to start looking at everything from a business perspective. And I've been telling y'all this for a long time. Look at things from a business perspective. Have a level of dick discipline so you can see clearly and you're not making decisions emotionally or based off of what you think or what you feel, and you're making decisions based off of your long-term perspective. But that's just my perspective. I think that the last year was really rough for a lot of guys, but they seeing a light. And sometimes you got to suffer in order to really find a success. Suffering is not a bad thing. You learn from your mistakes or you learn from the mistakes of others. And then you pivot and you make the adjustment and you start to do the thing that's in your best interest. So just tapping in with y'all. You know, we got the Millionaire Morning Show coming up. Well, like I said, I'm recording this the day before. So you'll see this tomorrow, which is today for you. And then we got the Millionaire Morning Show coming up within the next few hours. So make sure you tap into that. We're getting back into the swing of things. We're going to live stream. We're going to do what we do. And we got some new sponsors. So make sure you tap into Teach Henley. 30% off your first order plus a free gift. Alpha Juice Company, they absolutely are great sponsors. Those links should be in the description. And then last but not least, again, make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. I love you. I appreciate you. I got stuff to do. I'm going to holler at you later. Peace.